Sai Ram. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of my beloved Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba and my loving Sai Ram to one and all. We, the participants of second batch of Sri Satya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation Mahila Wing Goa, invite you all for our workshop on wholesome parenting for strong bonding and perfect family. Before starting of the session, would like to introduce you all to our project team members. Sister Pranita Kankonkar, Sister Sonali Naik, Sister Samiksha Pawar, Sister Sai Priti Sakte, and myself, Dr. Shreya Pavaskar. Last week, we had an introductory session on parenting and human values, wherein we learned how important it is to inculcate good values in our children. Today is our second session on to assist the parents to raise their child as an ideal human being. Stars shine at night and some stars shine at bright daylight. It's a pleasure to welcome one such star, Dr. Denise Rodriguez, ma'am. Dr. Denise Rodriguez is a dedicated homeopath, pediatric nutritionalist, and a guidance counselor. Having graduated with a BHMS degree from Goa University as a gold medalist, she went on to acquire training in Mumbai before beginning with her own venture, Evolve Homeopathic Clinic at Rai, South Goa. Believing that every individual has their own innate, unique capacity to heal and evolve into best version of themselves, Dr. Denise combines her knowledge of homeopathy, mind-body healing, psychology, and nutrition as she facilitates the successful healing of her clients holistically. She firmly believes that a peaceful heart leads to a healthy body. Being aware of oneself and treating your illness as your friend is the philosophy she works on. Homeopathy is an art, and Dr. Denise ma'am is one of the best artists, holistic healer out there. Now, I request Dr. Denise ma'am to please take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Shreya, for such a lovely introduction, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It is indeed a humble experience to share my experience of dealing with children. So, this whole webinar, it's wholesome parenting. Now, I'm not married nor am I a parent myself, but I have dealt with so many children. कितले भुरगी माझे लागीं येता for different issues. Counseling homeopathy treatment and different issues and parents sangta, they don't listen. They get angry very soon. Kitle complaints. So what I'm going to do is we will start this session. I have read all your responses. Can you all hear me clearly? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, yes. But just
All,
take your camera a little up because we can't see your, like, it is getting cut later.
all right. Is this okay?
Yes, ma'am. Just
All right.
little up, ma'am.
Oh, all right. Just hold on. Just hold on.
Okay. Mike.
Yeah. Is this okay now?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. We
All
can.
right, good enough, good enough. So what I will do is I will start sharing my screen and we will go through a session where we will try to understand how to raise an ideal child. Okay, how exactly we can be ideal parents in order to raise an ideal child. So you all will tell me whether you all can see the screen now, okay? Okay, you all can see the screen, I suppose, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am. We can see.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. So I think the slides, I just have this issue with Google Meet always. So yeah, let's just go here. Okay. So what is wholesome parenting? And I want to understand even, let us make this session a little interactive. Okay. What do y'all understand about wholesome parenting? तुमचे किती विचार असा की हे ideal human being, how to make a child an ideal human being? Okay. So the next slide we will see is, jenna Dr. Shreyan maka sangle ki do a session on ideal child. I said okay, I will take it up because avan अशे एक similar session Loyola schoolan खातीर केले already. And it really touched the parents' hearts because I have a very different understanding of how children should be dealt with. So Jenna Maka त्यांनी सांगले की okay, I have to do it for the Shri Satya Sai organization. Then I said let me read something. Maka already खबर असलेलं की what is the organization and what are Baba's teachings about it. So I said let me exactly understand what he has to say about this. Then I came across Sai parenting, a concept. So traditional parenting and kida asa, we parent the child as though they are our children. They belong to us, so I can tell my child, do this, do that. Ashe karnaka, tinga vachnaka, yaje barabar vachnaka, don't do this, don't do that. Typical, very dominating ashe asa. Many parents were like that in the days gone by. Our grandparents असेच आशिल्ले हे कर नाका, permission विचार, ये विचार, very controlled atmosphere. But what is Thai parenting all about? I read this beautiful thing. So in traditional parenting, we parent the children as though they are our children. In Sai parenting, we parent the children as though they are Swami's children, God's children. In reality, parents are only standing in for the one true parent of all, which is God. We are custodians and guardians for God. You, my dear parent who is tuned in to listen to this webinar, you are only a guardian for your child. You do not own your child. And that is what even Sai says in the teachings. We parent the children as though they are just a gift to us from God and truly mold them to what God has called us to make them be like. God has made each and every one of us in His image and likeness. Ni? माझे केले, माका केले, तुका केले, as according to His will. So when we are parenting a child, when a child is being trained, we are training the child to be just like God the Father. Okay. We are custodians, parents are custodians and guardians for God. Children are a blessing from God, from the universe. These bright spirits have come to give love and light and have chosen you, their parent, for the lessons and challenges they'll be given. So, what exactly are the challenges they will face? What exactly they want to learn? They want to learn it from you. Yes, these children want to learn all what they have from you, all about their challenges, everything. जेन्ना हांवें हें वाचलें न्ही, म्हाका एक very famous poemaचो याद येला. It is this, On Children by Khalil Gibran. Okay? And as we are listening to this poem, I will read this poem right now. I really want you, dear parents, to close your eyes. Close your eyes and absorb each and every one of this word. And after this, we will have a little discussion. Okay? This is very close to what Sai has to say about parenting. Okay? Your children, so close your eyes right now and we are going to listen to this poem. Okay? Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, They belong not to you. I'll read that again. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bow from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, and that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. If you all have closed your eyes, I want you all now to open your eyes and just absorb the words of this poem. You know, it is so beautiful, very much like what we understood in our previous slide about Sai parenting, where we understood that children are indeed a blessing from Swamiji, from God. They do not belong to us, they are God's gifts. And we can give them our love, but you cannot force your ideas on them. Ashekar, Thai Inga words, it's not like this. You give them your love, you can only guide them. Do not make them like you. That is what the poem says. For life goes forward, but not like yesterday. And you are the bow, okay? Like the archer pulling the bow. God is the archer guiding you, but you are the bow, sending that arrow in the right direction. So, to make that arrow your child an ideal child, it is important that as a parent, you become stable. Your thoughts are in tune with what God has created you to be, with how Swamiji has planned the life for you. Before we go ahead with a few other slides that I have, is everybody able to understand what I'm saying? And do you all have any inputs? Do you all have any questions? Whatever you all have, I want the feedback, as and how we go ahead, so that I understand that we are on the right path. Do you all have any questions? Anything with regards to this poem? Anything with regards to what exactly you all expect from this? Maybe you can put in the chat box, or you all can unmute yourselves and ask. All right. Okay. So we'll go to the next slide. Okay. The next slide. See, like I told you, I'm not yet a parent. Okay. पण माझे क्लिनिकांनी खूप भुरगीं येताले 6 वरांसून लायक इतले भुरगीं येताले आनी एकूच कंप्लेंट आसा मोस्ट कॉमनली हे सगळे हांवें बरयलें न्ही इज वॉट आय हियर right from the child who's like 4 years, 5 years, not cooperating with studies, only on the smartphone, चड उलयता, bad habits आसा, आयकना म्हजे अशें, the child is not obedient, child gets angry and irritable, ऑनलाईन क्लासेस आसा, टीचर नोट धाडटा, पण तो व्हिडिओज पळयता डॉक्टर. ऐकना. Why are they not hearing? They don't sit in one place. They don't eat healthy. आणि असे इतले म्हाका कंप्लेंट्स येता. So this your child, is this your child who is very aggressive and disobedient? खूप पेरेंट्सांचे ते गुगल फॉर्म भरले न्ही. येस अशे everybody is struggling with these issues. की ऐकना, नॉट ओबिडियंट, अँगर आसा तांकां, मोबायलाचेर आसा, सगळे रेस्टलेस आसा, उलयना सारके, doesn't sit in one place, खायना सारके. So what is the reason for this? When I understood, no, आता इतले वर्सांसून I'm dealing more with children आणि children's parents, counseling also for children. त्यांना म्हाका एक quote याद येयला. आणि this is, before we go to that quote, we understand over here, Mashira. Okay. So before we go to that quote, these are the common complaints I hear, right? But why are we hearing these complaints? Why are the children not listening to us? Why are they doing like this to us? Do you know that to raise an ideal child, we have to be the ideal parent? या वर्कशॉपाचे नाव कितें आसा? To assist the parents to raise their child as an ideal human being. But how will a child become an ideal human being if you are not an ideal parent? I want to understand from you. Ada, I will stop talking for a bit. I want to understand from you, what is your idea of having an ideal child? What is your idea of being the ideal parent? Please put it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourselves and tell me, and then we'll go ahead. We'll break it down little by little. Put it in the chat box, whatever you all want to say. कितें अशें आसा, कितें आयडिया आसा की lead by example, very good, excellent. What else? What else? Lead by example is like, spot on. And what else? Some very few important pointers which I'm going to be speaking about now.
Hello, Dr. Denise.
Yes.
Yes. Before telling something to a child, parents should first practice it, I feel.
Yes,
And
definitely, ma'am.
And we should behave in such a way that we should be a good example to our child, and we should be a role model for our child.
Yes, yes, that's perfect. Lead by example and become that role model. Then we have one more thing come over here. We should give time to them. Very true. We should give time and give them options. Very true. And it's a big challenge, no? How do we give them options? When today, though, children want to do whatever they want, how do we actually give them options? How do we make them helpful, law-abiding citizens is something which has come in the chat box. So, if you all are saying that you all have to lead by example, what is one thing you all have to do? One major thing. When we say that we have to lead by example, because children are looking at us, right? So, what is that major thing? I just want to understand, your idea of this. Lead by example is yes, but how to lead by example? What will you do? कितें करतले अशें that the child should imitate us? We do it first, they see, then they do, we see. Very true. पण कितें अशें करतले that the child will imitate? कितें? What will you do as an ideal parent, sir? If you want, we need to do what we want them to do. And what would you want them to do? This is becoming interesting. What would you want your child to do? Yeah, you want to say, if anybody wants to say something, like follow the good path. Excellent, sir. पण कशा अशा, how will you follow the good path? Like, I want examples. You all are giving very beautiful solutions. पण माका examples आहे. Eating habits, okay. What else?
Uh, if my child wants to give respect to me, I have to give respect to my parents. So that can be an example.
That can be an example. Very good. I'll keep all this in mind as I go ahead, and plus all these things which are come in the chat box, because there is one universal thing which takes care of this all, and that is my main thing, main topic which I'm going to speak about, how you can be that ideal person so that your child becomes that ideal child. So definitely, yes, we've got suggestions like eating habits, cleanliness, following the good path, reading books, and prayer. Prayer time is of utmost importance. We should respect our elders, like mother-in-laws. Hard, no, sometimes, but it's a challenge that we have to rise up to, and it is one universal thing which takes care of it at all times. So let us understand this. Why is it important to be an ideal parent? I remember this quote, and it's one of my favorite quotes because I can literally see this coming into action. One of our very famous Catholic saints, Saint Francis Xavier, says, "Give me a child until he is 7, and anyone can have him thereafter." Do you know why this particular saint is talking about having a child until 7? There is a similar quote by the philosopher Aristotle. Give a child until he's 7 and I will make him a man. What is the meaning of all this? What is the relation between having a child until, taking good care of a child until they are 7, and then what is the relation? Does anybody have an idea about it? Yes, yes, I'll answer all the questions. Does anybody have an idea about all about this? Like, what exactly?
Ma'am, that
Yeah,
means below 7 the foundations are formed.
very
So,
good. Excellent. Excellent.
the good habits and all the foundations are laid in below 7. So, if the good foundations are laid, then becoming a man is very easy. Becoming a good man is easy.
Very true. And you just hit the nail at the spot. It is very important that the foundation is laid until he is 7. Why is it important? Let's come to the why part of it. There is this concept called as cellular memory. Whatever happens until the age of 7 stays in the cellular memory of a child. Right now in psychology, I'm a trained counselor as well. We do something called as inner child healing, because sometimes it is required to understand what happened in a person's life until the age of 7, which is why they behave in a particular manner. Okay, very important. So what happens, there is this whole concept of cellular memory over here, that whatever happens until the age of 7 stays in the cellular memory of a child, be it what you say, what you eat, and what you do. So suppose a child at home is a witness to parents' fights, to problems with the in-laws, to unhealthy eating habits, to not a good path followed by the parents themselves. Maybe there's a conflict. The parent is saying something, but the child is told something else. Okay? And that gets just stored in the memory of a child. Okay? So this cellular memory is a very important concept. When you see that why your child is angry and irritable, why your child is disobedient now, Go back to those early years of 0 to 7. What happened that time? Was the child a witness to anything? Was the mental health of the mother or the father not conducive to the growth and development of the child? Those are the foundation years. We may know everything, but when we introspect, what happened during those 7 years until the age of 7 that my child is doing this, behaving in a particular manner? Also, you can ask yourself, what am I doing right now that my child is behaving this way? Why is this child behaving this way? What exactly am I doing wrong? So, this is the whole concept of cellular memory which comes into play here. And you know, we did see a lot of your suggestions come up about what you need to do, how it needs to be, and a few of the suggestions which came up were this: reading books and prayers, being clean, eating habits, following good paths, respect your elders, your mother-in-laws, your mother-in-law, your in-laws, and all of these. So before we do that, we need to ask ourselves, are we practicing love? And I want to ask you this question because to raise an ideal child, you have to be the ideal parent. आणि as a parent, तू एक guide असा भुरग्या खातीर. You are the guide of the child entrusted to you, given by God to you. You don't own the child. You cannot say, don't do this, don't do that. Not keep in, असे, घटदोरपा नाका. You have to allow the child to grow. And how will you allow the child to grow? You see that little image in the heart where the woman is hugging herself? That happens when you practice self-love. How will you show your child the love of God, the love of prayer, the importance of spending time in prayer if you don't love yourself and the body God has given you? Ami Deva Arga Kenna Dita. When do we sit and pray to God? Only when we want something? Only when we want to ask Dev ki maka yes जाय, घर जाय, गाडी जाय, फ्रिज जाय, टीवी जाय, जॉब बरे जाय, आता pandemic असा आमका secure job जाय. Do we only pray during that time? Or do we pray at all times, even at times of struggle? When will you begin praying? When you begin to love the life God has given you. When you begin to love yourself, when you begin to love your body, you will have all the right practices. Isn't self-love the foundation of all this? Following the good path, respecting your parents, respecting your in-laws, cleanliness, eating habits, all boils down to self-love. If you don't love yourself, will you eat healthy? I don't think so. If you think this body is like हम लोग को एक लाइफ मिला बस खा के जियो और मरो, that's not the thing, right? We don't do that. Okay? We don't behave this way. We love our bodies. We love the gift Swamiji has given us, God has given us, and that is why we eat healthy. We nourish our body. And if our child is seeing that we are nourishing our bodies and taking care of ourselves, मागीर कितें जाता? They will start loving their bodies and taking care of themselves. When they see that we practice love towards ourselves and love towards our elders, will we love our elders without being able to love ourselves? Like, I want your answer on this, your opinion. We talk about love and self-love, but how will we love others if we do not practice self-love? How will we love others around us, our own in-laws? How is love conditional? Jenna कोण कितें बरें करता आमकां, only then we will love. Is it all like that? No. I don't think Swamiji has thought that. God has not thought that. He has thought that when it is difficult, you have to choose to love. You have to choose to offer grace. And when you do that for yourself, boy, आम्ही बी mistakes करता न्ही. केन्ना अशें आसता की we also get angry. मागीर भुरगीं पळयता आमकां की we are getting angry, we are eating unhealthy, we are going for late night parties. They are seeing all that. But can we be angry at ourselves? We have to show ourselves grace. That it is okay. एक दिस अन बरे जेवंक ना, next day I will eat well. I will make an effort to lose weight by eating this correct food at this time, doing this at this time, isn't it? What is your idea about self-love? Now we just discussed, we'll come back to the PowerPoint, but what is your idea? All these answers which you all gave me here, all these answers which are here in the chat box, be it cleanliness, be it reading books, be it prayer, it all comes from self-love. And if you don't love yourself, how will you love others? First is you love God, but then God has given you life. He's given you a body, so you have to love yourself. Then He's given you people in your life. He's given you children. Then you have to love the children. You have to love the people. Isn't it? Can you all also give some ideas of how you all practice self-love? What do you all do to practice self-love? You all can unmute yourselves or put in the chat box. Because the very first point, meditation, very good. Sir, can you tell me how meditation helps you practice self-love? Unmute yourself or you can put it in. Exercise, very good, because you are taking care of your body, no? You're taking care of the body Swamiji has gifted you all with. So that is one way of practicing self-love. What is the other way of practicing self-love? There are many, each very unique to you. So what are the other ways that you will practice self-love? Keeping healthy, yes. What are the other ways? One is keeping healthy. We have spoken about exercise. We have spoken about meditation. So meditation is, not being guilty, forgiving self, excellent. We have to give ourselves grace that yes, we made a mistake. Now we are sorry for ourselves. And a child will see that and they will in turn practice self-love when they see this. So love yourselves with meditation. My personal experience with meditation is you're really connecting with each and every aspect of your mind, of your senses, of your body. And that's the highest form of self-love you can give to yourself, When you are just being connected with the divine through that whole process, that's the highest form of being connected. So that's the primary thing. Love yourself and teach your children the same. This entire thing was all about practicing self-love. You want to be ideal? Yes. Be happy always and satisfied in life. True. And at times it's a bit difficult, no? To be satisfied because as human beings, we are always wanting more. It is called self-actualization. In psychology, we call it Maslow's need hierarchy, where the top of the pyramid is self-actualization. And as we are climbing that pyramid, we are never really satisfied with a lot of things in our life. So we keep wanting more. Today we have a basic car, tomorrow we'll want another car. Today we have a simple phone, we'll want another phone because the apps only of today don't fit in our old phones, right? The needs will always be there. But even in this, there's a challenge. We have to choose to be satisfied. We have to choose to be satisfied. We have to choose to be happy with whatever we have. So like this, yes, especially keeping our hobbies. Very true, very true. We have to connect with our hobbies as well. So children basically are intuitive and unique. Every child is unique in God's creation, right? we have to applaud their uniqueness. Maybe your child is not as smart as your friend's child, and that's okay. That child will be very good in playing a sport. That child is very good in playing an instrument, tabla or dance for that matter, and that's so cool. You, as a parent, have to applaud their uniqueness. Say, I am so proud of you. The child will be a 60% student in school, and you must be a person who's always got 90%, but your child has got 60%. And your neighbor's child and your relative's child are all getting 90% with online classes, but still your child is getting 60%. Why so? Maybe your child is having some interest in something else. Maybe the child loves to draw and paint. Applaud that uniqueness in your child. Mindfully listen to what they have to say. Listen to what they have to say. Okay? When you are talking to them, some parents are there, nahi mobile on router. Okay, yeah, tell me, how was your day at school? Hmm, okay, this way. Mindfully meaning being present with them. If they tell you, Mama, Papa, I hear the scholar. Okay, Magir, talk to them, listen to them, be present. When we are speaking about mindful listening, we are talking about being present. So if a child is watching you being present for them, are they going to be just wonderful people in the future? Won't they be that ideal child that you always dreamt they should be? You have to provide a safe, nurturing space for their soul to develop their personality to its full potential. And how will you do that? By allowing them to be themselves, by applauding them their uniqueness, by listening to them, by giving them their space to grow. Remember the poem of Khalil Gibran which we learned at the start? They are not your children. You can't control them. You have to take the arrow, shoot it. Let the arrow go. God is there. Swamiji is there to guide your hand that you direct the arrow in the right direction. We cannot teach them old ideas. We have to grow with them. आमचे parents and कितें सांगले, we can't tell them that, especially not today's children. No, you can't tell them ki, oh, Aujana lana shileni, it was this way. I was always listening to my parents. No, it's not all about that. When we encourage and empower our children to be who they are and love every part of themselves, you accept their uniqueness, their shortcomings, that they are not good in studies, that they are not really, how you want them to be. What is your idea of having an ideal child? Do you want to make them the child the way you see how a child should be? Or do you want them to grow in a way God has created them to be? Somewhere or the other, आमका control सोडपाक जायनी. What we have control over, we have to leave it. So when we encourage and empower our children to be who they are and love every part of themselves, they could actually do wondrous things for humanity. How many of y'all are practicing this aspect of self-love? Do you all do it? I mean, if y'all are doing it, y'all have put up so beautifully about meditation, prayer, and reading and being there for children and for having them follow the righteous path. But are y'all practicing self-love? And I want to know how y'all are practicing. So y'all can put that in the chat box. Y'all can unmute yourselves, but also tell what exactly y'all are doing so that everybody here in this close group knows how each one we can maybe identify strengths and then go from there. So can you all tell me in short, maybe put in the chat box, how do y'all, I do yoga, Kasturi ma'am says. Okay, yes, that's great. And does your child also do yoga with you? Or are they imitating that healthy way of life? What do y'all do? this not being guilty, forgiving yourself, to be happy always and satisfied. What are the steps you'll take? Because, we know all this. You and I, we both know all this, but do we really actually put it into practice? Can we not be guilty? Can we not forgive ourselves? I think we all have our shortcomings. If we embrace our shortcomings, then we will grow together. Uh, Kasturi ma'am says they don't wake up in the morning, and that's totally fine. They can see you waking up, and you can tell them. If you force them, what will happen? They'll become your enemy. Come sit with me for prayers now. Sit with me for yoga now. You cannot force them. You can tell them and show them the benefits and continuously talk about it. But when they understand the benefits from themselves, that is the path they will take. If we continuously tell a child, do this, do that, no, it's not going to happen. And even if they don't wake up, you could also find another time to do a small little breathing exercise with them. Small little exercises for them so that you all can have that bonding time together. Prayers and Veda chanting, excellent. Keep doing that. And if they cooperate with you, well and good. If they don't, keep walking that path so that they understand that how you are growing as a person, because they learn, right? Children learn how you are growing as a person. Let them see that and then grow with whatever they are observing. You can only tell them. Beyond that, you cannot force them. Okay? Um, Anything else you all want to add on to as to what you all actually do? Play with kids. Be like, oh, this is beautiful. I like this. Be like them when playing. You have to come down to their level. You can't be, you might be the CEO of a company or the director of a company, but you can't behave like that with a small child. You have to come down to their level. Be very compassionate with them. All right? That's a very beautiful input we have over there. So we covered self-love. We covered about how we have to embrace their uniqueness, their shortcomings, even if they don't wake up, that's all right for now. We have to still walk our path. We will have issues we are struggling with. We can pray for them to God, to Swamiji. We can pray for them and help that they be guided in the right manner with the right group of people, with the right group of friends. But you continue being the ideal parent. You continue making that efforts to love yourself, to grow with time, to embrace newer ideas. All right? That is how, when you will be encouraging your child, you will grow to be what they are and love every part of themselves, and then they could do wondrous things for humanity. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So there is no such thing as a perfect parent. As much as we think that there is no such thing as a perfect parent, as much as we want to be ideal parents, there is no such thing as a perfect parent. Okay, so be a real one. And what is a real parent according to you all? Can I have some answers in the chat box, please? We are not perfect. Nobody is even a perfect human being. We want to become ideal. We want to become the way God wants us to become. But then what? What else? What is your idea of being a real parent? We are talking about ideal parent. We are talking about ideal child. But ये real parent किती असता अशें? What is your idea of being a real parent? Could I please have some answer? Or you all can unmute yourselves even. What is a real parent? Whatever your ideas are of a real parent. I'll wait for a few seconds. What is your idea? Nobody is perfect, right? So what is your idea of a real parent? Whatever you'll understand by this term, a real parent. So my understanding of this is when you have to be a real person, I believe you have to be an authentic person, true to yourself, true to who you are exactly, be what you are. But you have to be mindful, okay? You have to be mindful and be what you truly are, keeping in mind that your children are watching you. Being good in all times, at all times, choosing goodness, choosing kindness, choosing happiness, choosing satisfaction. Everything is a choice, isn't it? So you have to be that authentic, real version of yourself. If you feel anger coming up in you, you have to work. You know, when we train children, when we train or when we have workshop for kids, yes, unconditional acceptance of what the child is. And that unconditional acceptance, ma'am, will come when you have an unconditional acceptance of yourself, with your shortcomings, with your fallings, because then you will be able to show grace to yourself and your children will recognize that ability to show grace to themselves and to others. When you unconditionally accept what the child is, you do that because you unconditionally accept yourself with all your shortcomings. Yeah, your real side. And I don't mean the side which can be angry. I also get very angry, okay? Very often. For a long time in my life, I struggled with anger issues. And I have a younger sister who's 11 years younger to me. So for her, I was a role model while growing up. Ikkada was younger to me. So my mother would always say, don't get angry, don't be this, don't be that, because she was watching me grow. It is when I learned to work with my anger, knowing that I will make mistakes, knowing that I will fall down, it is when I know, actually I felt misunderstood. Actually, I was hungry. Actually, this is what came up. And that is why I felt disturbed. Yes. So that is when I know that I am growing. That is my real side. I do get angry. It's a real side. I'm very sensitive, but I get angry because I'm sensitive and it's something I am growing. And that's what a real parent is. We need to show our real side. Yes. Also, we need to correct them and not criticize them. Correct them by showing them the opportunity, showing them a side that, if you probably do things in this way, this is the reward you will get. This is how it's going to be there for you. But don't tell them, don't mollycoddle them, oh, this is not how it is and that's not how it should be. No, you have to allow them to grow. All right. So, love is the answer. And again, it all boils down to love. Love is the answer to help the child to grow to be a kind person. When you work on loving yourselves, when we model for our children self-love, our children will follow this example and have a better, successful life. So what are the tips? The tips is you come into awareness. You come into awareness of your real, authentic self. तू किधे आसा? तुमचे shortcomings किधे आसा? Work on it and grow. You see that quote on the right? Your job as a parent is to honor your child's nature. So their personality develops in harmony with who they really are. We can't control a child. If we are controlling a child, we are not allowing the light to glow. God has blessed them with light, with love. And if we are going to control, don't do this and don't do that, we are not allowing that light, those talents to shine. So you have to honor their nature. So their personality develops in harmony with who they really, really are. So what is the awareness steps you need to take for yourself? First is, which we've discussed this, be aware of your choices and actions. Connect with nature. Now it is which children actually go out to play, and not only parks, in the fields, or with, just go out to play. Today it's all about having apps, all about online classes, and you cannot even tell the kid to disconnect from the phone, because that's how they're going to learn their online classes. But what you as a parent can do is limit their screen time. All right? Limit their screen time and help them to connect with nature. And how connect with nature? In mindfulness, we have certain activities which are called as grounding activities. Okay? So with grounding activities, we tell the child to touch, touch and feel, smell, hear, and see what comes in front of them. They are grounding activities, and that's how you can help them to connect with nature. Allow them to play with sand, allow them to play with mud, allow them to be who they are called to be. Help them to connect with nature. Do mindful activities, like actually that when it's raining, and you can actually make paper boats and sail them in the puddles. It is fun, it still is fun. Not today parents are worried that, oh, my child will catch a cold. Some children don't catch a cold whose immunity is good. Otherwise, for some kids who catch a cold, then we have to work on building up the immunity with the right kinds of food and medication. But otherwise, whatever mindful activities you all are doing, whether it is sailing paper boats in puddles or doing small things together, even making clay at home with atta, chapati kartat na atta, you can put little color and make clay at home. That also becomes a mindful activity for small kids. Or maybe just play with them, but be totally present with them. The next point I've written over here is mindfulness based active listening. What is this? Actually listen to them. Don't criticize and control them because you are in an authoritarian position. No, you're not in an authoritarian position. You are a guardian. Swamiji has gifted them, these children, to you. You are just their guardian. So listen to them. Engage in a conversation with them. If they are telling you they are not feeling good, not how can I remedy it? Oh, you're not feeling good? What happened? Maybe we could speak about it. You don't have to come up with a solution all the time. Every child is capable of coming up with their own solution. So at that time, you are actively listening to the kid. Acknowledge the good and bad. Whatever is good, whatever is bad, acknowledge and then grow from there. Avoid exercising power and instilling fear. Don't make them afraid. You are not here to make them afraid. You are not here to control them, but you are here to show them the love you have cultivated for yourself. That's the love you show to them. Okay? And if you all have any questions, I would like to take questions now, because this is the end of my presentation, and I would like to take some questions. One parent has written about vitamin deficiencies. I feel what actually contributes to the mood of a child is the food they eat. And when we are talking about what food they eat, see if your child is consuming a lot of sweets or maida, because sweets and maida block the intestines. Even bread, for that matter, even chapati, like your atta, your normal wheat flour, contains gluten, which sticks to the intestine. It can make the child very lethargic. If your child is having pastas, noodles, cakes, biscuits, the child will always be moody and irritable and angry. You have to clean up the diet of the child. Introduce whole foods. Give dates, khajur, okay, आणि अंजीर, dry fruits, कितें तरी laddu करप, नाजाल्यार ते granola bars. You can make it at home very easily, which boost energy make the person even feel good for that matter, make the child even feel good. So it's not only vitamin deficiencies, because you have lots of vitamins like magnesium and vitamin D and vitamin E, which can contribute to the mood of a child, but definitely it is also excess of sugar and carbohydrates which cause energy fluctuations in the mood and in the energy levels. So I hope I answered the question where one parent asked about diet. So we have a thing over here. Once I didn't force my child to do homework and told him, but he kept it incomplete for 4 days. What do I do in this case? How would you solution this out? Okay. If you're not forcing your child, you can tell him about the consequences. Don't force him to do it. Remind him that, see, you have this submission due, or you have this homework to do. Probably if you don't finish it on time, there will be more pending work and we will get a call from school that we have to submit it right now. So you have to give them consequences. You have to open to them what could be the possible thing, which is which is a possibility, or what could be the outcome if they do not complete a particular task on time. That is one way how you could deal with it. Tell about the outcome in a non-coercive manner, in a non-criticizing manner. Any other questions or other situations where you all will probably need help with? Any questions? Any thing you all want to say? Anything you all want to you all would want my opinion on?
Hello,
Yes.
Sairam. I just wanted to ask. Once I told my child he wanted to become an astronaut since childhood, and sir, I used to tell him like for astronaut you have to study a lot, this that, and then suddenly he said I don't want to be. Just tell me something for which I don't have to study.
Okay, so he doesn't
He's
want to
just 7
study.
years old actually. He used to
Uh-huh.
say at 5 years, I want to be an astronaut and all those things. And suddenly, when I was just informing him, you need to study a lot for this, and he's telling me, just tell me something for which I don't have to study.
Okay. Maybe try putting it in this way, okay? Applaud the choice he's made. Wow, you want to be an astronaut? Let him walk that path. Right now, I understand that he does not want to walk that path because of this study. So he says, let me see what I don't have to study. Ask him what he enjoys doing. Maybe maybe he enjoys till, outer space. Maybe we don't know. Keep building on that. Keep building
He
on that and
enjoys all those
encourage.
things. He enjoys science. He sees that videos. He reads atlases. He sees that maps and all everything. But writing part he don't want to do. Like he
Oh.
asked me for what you don't have to write. Just tell me that I will become that thing.
He's really small, but again, you can show him the consequences. And for a kid of 7 years, your handwriting won't be good. You could just give him the consequence of this. Like, oh, if you don't write, then how will you learn to actually read? How will you know the formation of the letters? Maybe you could try drawing something. Maybe, draw, you get these big books with big
Yeah,
letters
yeah,
and colors. You could
yeah.
try that, because I
He
remember as
can
a
read
kid.
everything. Even when he was a kid, he used to read everything on the screens. Also, whatever is there, he tries to read. He reads, but he just don't want to put it in the hands. And that is the
Ah,
only problem with the homework. He can do everything, right? Talking, speaking, everything. He is interested. And like I have
all
to
right.
force him to write. Then if I don't force, he just keeps on means postponing it till I
Give him,
force him.
only show him the consequences. That is how you can be a non-coercive way. just show him the consequences, and this is what will happen if you don't write. Now, if you still don't want to write, that's your thing. But this is what will it's going to happen. Okay.
Okay. Like,
Only show them the consequences in a passive way so that they don't become aggressive. You don't want to deal with the aggressive side of your son, that he continues, putting it off whatever you ask.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you want to show him the side of it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. So we got some few questions here. Doesn't do work by himself. Every time I have to be behind him. Did you stop doing work for him? Uh, just stop doing work. Like, I don't know how old your kid is, but you have to tell him that, yes, there's something I really forgot to actually make a mention, because I was speaking on the topic more about love. But as parents, you all also need to draw your boundaries. And boundaries come when you love a person. You cannot overtly love a person and be so attached that you continuously do things for them. You as a parent have to take a call that maybe you're 15 years and I'm not going to do these things for you. You are drawing healthy boundaries because you want that child to grow. So the first thing you do is you begin by saying that I'm not going to wash your plate, I'm not going to pick up the teacup, and I'm not going to wash your clothes. Because again, put a situation in front of them that probably you will be wanting to go out to study, and I don't want to wait till that time that you do not know how to take care of yourself. I want to see you taking care of yourself so that I know for sure that you are a grown up boy. That is how you will draw strong boundaries without being in an enmeshed relationship, in the sense without being very overprotective. All right? Small little thing. And what can be done to control child's anger? First is find out the root cause. Why exactly is this child behaving in a particular way? What is making the child behave this way? And then talk to the child and try to work on that aspect of it. Otherwise, alternatively, on the diet aspect, see what the child is eating that is pulling down the moods. Be a friend to your child is the best advice I could give to any parent, because as a grown up today, and when I see my sister who's also growing up and she's much younger than me, and when I see her, there are a lot of patterns I myself recognize that maybe my parents should have changed over a period of time. They are the world's best parents. For me, they are the world's best parents. I am who I am because of them today. But there are certain patterns I know that probably if it was done a little different, it could have been so much better. And these are just wake up calls for each and every one. We are all growing. Like, even I have these conversations today with my parents. I think we need to draw a boundary here when it comes to preparing my tiffin. My mom still wants to prepare my tiffin, or have my dress me up, which is so fascinating for her. And I also enjoy that as her child. But then I know I'm a grown up and I need to do things myself. And I cannot become the ideal child if she doesn't allow me to grow. So this is the kind of conversations I have with my parents today, and that's how we can see a difference in the way my sister is being dealt with today. There is a zameen asman ke farak between the parenting styles my parents had with me and a decade later. I can literally see that. So when even then, when we get angry, when my sibling gets angry or when I get angry, all I tell the parent is let the child be. Then talk to the child and understand what exactly is the issue. What exactly is bothering you? Are you okay talking to me about it? Do you want to talk to somebody else? These are all the things, because nowadays it's a very sad state, but I have dealt with, I had a focus group counseling session for children in the fifth to seventh standard, which I believe they are around 10 to 12 years. Yes. And can you believe it? They were kids from Sharda Mandir school, and so many of those kids come and tell it it is so depressing to be at home. Imagine such a heavy word like depressed being used in 11-year-old. I feel so frustrated and depressed. It was such an eye-opener session for us who were conducting that group counseling session, because we understand that today the mental health needs of children is paramount. And we as parents, you all as parents, need to recognize that, okay, at this point, my child needs professional help. Maybe they need to talk to somebody about what exactly is bothering them. So, like, yes, here we have this very similar on those lines. We have a question that her son is 11 years but gets irritated and is angry easily when you ask or tell. Ask yourself, how are you asking those? What is the tone that you're using? Are you using a very commanding tone which makes the child afraid and want to give back? What exactly is happening? Okay, this is what you ask yourself. And if not, if you say your tone is very mild, try to understand and ask that, I'm a little disappointed that you feel you get angry whenever I tell you something. May I please know the reason about why you're getting angry? Healthy communication styles. Okay? Very important for a parent to draw healthy boundaries and also have very healthy communication styles. All right? Any other questions that are coming up, or any one of you want to unmute and you know put something forward? So we've learned about self-love, we've learned about unconditional love and acceptance, we've learned communication styles, and all of it. Why I focused on love is because all of it boils down to love. You will become the best version of yourself as a parent when you truly love yourself and want to grow, and in turn want your child to grow. Anything else? Any other questions? Anybody wants to unmute yourself and say something? Yeah? Nobody? So then I'm done. Do we have more time? Do you all want any
Yeah,
other
Doctor,
suggestions?
there is one
Yes.
response that I have.
Yes, sir.
So we always read this thing, right? So you should treat your parent or teacher as God. So we have been always taught about this. But now, if you see the newer generation that is coming through, they are more knowledgeable than we are. For example, we are more exposed, or we had more knowledge than our parents. So this knowledge is the gap between parents and children is increasing more and more. So it will be very
Exactly.
difficult now for the newer generation to worship their parents or worship their teachers. It's very
They
difficult.
don't do it.
As yeah.
They
So
do not do it because they have their own idea about how a parent or teacher should be. Isn't it such a challenge when you see 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds just talking back at their parents? It is such a challenge. No, they don't respect. Why don't they respect? What is lacking in the parenting technique or style? Because we are still so grounded with what we have learned from our parents or grandparents. How about we adapt to them? How about we try to understand that what is their idea of seeing parent or a teacher as? They do not give that respect as how we might have given to our parents, or we might have given to our teachers. No children of today do it. But until and unless they are told the importance, again it comes down to the importance of having a figure, a mentor figure in your life. Today there are different terms for it, right? So having that mentor figure in your life, all right, you have to have communicate to them the importance of that. And again, they will understand the language of love. It's a universal language. They will understand that. The more you're able to connect with it, the more you're able to tell them about it. Tell them about it, that you love the person, right? For that purpose, if you love God, and God has made us all equally, and this person is elder to you, and that person has having created in the likeness of God here to guide you. So maybe you could try loving that person. Give them an option, because if you enforce them, they are not going to listen to you. That's what happens. That's the challenge a lot of parents face today. No kid listens to them. But you give them an option, you show them the consequences, and maybe then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Thanks.
I hope I answered all the questions that have come in the chat box, and all your queries. If you all have anything, then I think you all can write back, or I'll be more than happy to answer your queries based on the experience I have had with dealing with children. Because when parents come to me and tell me my child doesn't listen, the child is also my patient, the parent is also my patient, and the child becomes such a good friend of mine. So I have to maintain a very neutral stance. So whatever I told you all today is all from my experience of dealing with patients in the homeopathic setup, in the counseling setup, and the bond I've developed with them over a period of time. Because you have to have a very neutral stand. I, as a physician, have to have a very neutral stand when I deal with both, and help bridge the gap between the parent and the child. All comes down to love, and all comes down to communication skills and your healthy boundaries. Anything else? Yes, there is a question which has come in. Will love always help, and sometimes we need to be strict? You have to. And I was, like I told you all, I was just reading, one of the papers of one of the publications by by the organization Sri Satya Sai, which it was speaking about Sai parenting, and it also says that yes, at times you have to be loved, but you have to draw your boundaries. And when you draw your boundaries, that's how you are going to enforce what you expect from the child. So it's not about being strict or being in control, but having those boundaries. No means no, and saying yes to what you feel is right. All right, that comes up with boundaries. So in a non-coercive manner, you can have that balance between being strict and showing love still. I hope I answered that question. Anything else? I don't know, someone, Deepika or somebody has raised hands. Ma'am, if you want to say something, please go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can just put it in the chat box here. All right. Yeah, I think so. We are done, Dr. Shreya. Anything else I should cover up? You're most welcome. I'm so happy for this blessed opportunity to have this sharing session with you all. I love the way. Thank you for cooperating with me and being so participative in this. It really changed the energy of the session. I didn't want it to be just me speaking. So thank you so much for your cooperation as well. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. If there is any questions, I'll be sharing with you all. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Shreya, one more question is there. Shreya,
Yeah.
Shreya,
Carry on.
one more
Yes.
question is there.
Okay.
Doctor, can you
All-
answer? One more.
Yes,
How to
ma'am.
increase patience or tolerance of grown-up children?
Okay, so how to increase patience or tolerance of grown-up children? A lot of grown-up kids, or even my peer group, for example, when I come across, nobody lacks patience. Nobody, is very patient. They are very snappish. But you again have to show them the consequence of it. What happens if you're going to be snappish and intolerant at all times? They are going to lose out on important relationships. If they are just going to be angry, if they are just going to always give back, they are going to lose out. Show them the consequences of it, that this is what your action is going to do. If you still feel that this is the route you have to go, go for it. But again, you're instilling in them not fear, but instilling in them a possibility of being a good person, isn't it? So that is what you do. You have to show them the consequence of what they can be and how they can also respond in a better way, but not react, because impatience and intolerance comes from a space of reaction. That's all you need to do. I hope I answered that, Deepika ma'am. Yeah. Most welcome.
Shreya?
Yes, yes, we're done.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Brothers and sisters, we have come to the end of the program. No function is complete without expressing gratitude. Firstly, we offer gratitude to our beloved Bhagwan Baba for bringing us together to share his legacy. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for today's insightful session. Myself, Sonali Naik, on behalf of Mahila participants of Sri Satya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation, BEST, I extend my most sincere thanks to our beloved Bhagwan for this divine opportunity. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Denise Rodriguez ma'am for giving us valuable time from her busy schedule. We got an idea is how to reach children in such a way that they prove to be an ideal humans for our nation. Your thoughts have enlightened our mind and have shown us new paths. Thank you once again, Dr. Denise ma'am. My sincere gratitude to all the parents for their support. Without your support, this would have not been possible. I am also thankful to our state president, Mahesh Pavaskar Bhai, vice president, Saish Gandhi Bhai, and all Bal Vikas gurus for their support. I would also like to thank our dynamic team leader, Sarika Deshmukh, for her constant support and encouragement in all the areas. Thank you one and all for attending this session. Our next parenting session will be held on 2nd October, that is on Saturday. Please make a note. I repeat that our next session will be on 2nd October, that is on Saturday, from 4 to 5:30. Kindly keep yourself free on this particular day. I will also like to announce the activity for this week, that is storytelling or watching a motivational video with your child. हमारी इस वीक की एक्टिविटी यह है कि पेरेंट्स ने बच्चों को मोटिवेशनल स्टोरी सुनानी है और नहीं तो उसके साथ मोटिवेशनल वीडियो देखना है. आप उसका फोटो या कुछ डिटेल भी व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में डाल सकते हैं. Now we will conclude our session with Shanti Mantram. शांति शांति शांतिः समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.